You know that feeling, right? You've got a dozen browser tabs open, trying to piece together a vacation or maybe just a dinner reservation. It's a mountain of mental work. Now, imagine an AI that doesn't just give you information, it climbs that mountain for you. We're talking about AI that can act. So today, let's pull back the curtain and see how the magic trick is actually done. I mean, really think about it. Planning that dream trip to Rome, you're juggling flight prices, hotel reviews, a strict budget, trying to squeeze in museum tickets between dinner reservations. It's a logistical nightmare. It can take days of work. And yet, an AI agent could hand you a complete itinerary in seconds. How is that even possible? It's not magic, but it kind of feels like it. And this is the secret blueprint. It might look a little complicated right now, but trust me, this is our map for the journey ahead. We're going to keep coming back to this, piece by piece, as we uncover exactly how the illusion works. All right, so what's the first secret behind the curtain? Well, every great magician, every master craftsperson, they have their bag of tricks. And for an AI that can act, it's no different. You have to give it a toolkit. See, without tools, an AI is basically trapped in its own mind. If you ask it for today's weather, it's just guessing based on the old data it was trained on. It might be right, or it might confidently tell you it's sunny in the middle of a hurricane. But give that same AI just one tool, access to a live weather feed, and the entire game changes. It doesn't have to guess anymore. It knows. And that's the first key. Agents can reach out into the real world for facts.
Now, this ability to reach out comes in a couple of flavors. Sometimes the AI just needs to use a function that's already inside its own system. Think of it like looking something up in its own notebook. We call that function calling. But the real game changer is tool calling. That's when the agent connects to the outside world, pinging an airline server for flight prices or a weather service for a live forecast. This is the bridge from the AI's brain to the world's live data.
And here's a really cool detail. The main AI model, the big brain, doesn't actually get its own hands dirty. It acts more like a manager. When you ask for the weather, its brain just writes up a work order. It says, hey, I need the weather for this location right now. It then passes that order to a different part, the agent controller. That's the component that actually does the work. So the AI is the brain, but the controller, that's the hands. And this toolkit, wow, this arsenal can be absolutely massive. You can give an agent APIs to connect to almost any service on the internet. You can give it databases, basically providing it with a perfect long-term memory. You can add specialized tools for complex math, for automation, and even tools to control physical hardware. We're talking robots, drones, you name it. The agent's potential is really only limited by the tools we decide to give it.
But listen, an amazing toolkit is only half the battle. A workshop full of the best tools on Earth is pretty useless if you don't know what you're building or how to build it. And that brings us to the second, and you could argue, more important secret, crafting the master plan.
And this is where things get really, really clever. How does the agent know which tool to pick up first? How does it figure out that you have to find available flights before you can book them? To solve a complicated problem, you need more than just tools. You need a strategy. Now, old-school AI planning was, well, it was rigid, brittle. It followed these super strict if this, then that rules. And if you gave it any kind of real-world messiness, the whole system would just break. But modern, LLM-based planning, it's much more like a human brain. It's flexible, it understands context, and it can actually navigate the fuzzy, ambiguous way we ask for things.
I mean, think about how you'd tackle a massive project. You wouldn't just jump in, you'd break it down into smaller steps. That's exactly what the AI does here. It uses a method called hierarchical task network planning. It takes that huge, vague goal of planned travel and decomposes it into smaller, manageable chunks. First, plan the flights. Then, book the hotel. Then, find some activities. It's creating order out of chaos, one simple step at a time.
Okay, so we've got our two secrets, the toolkit and the master plan. Now, let's put it all together. Let's go back to that impossible task, planning a trip to Rome in seconds, and watch the agent actually go to work.
Okay, watch this. First, the agent understands your request. Rome, 2 people, the budget. Easy. Then, it decomposes that big goal into a step-by-step plan. Next, it executes that plan, picking up the right tool for each job in the perfect order. Call the Flight API. then the hotel API, then the activity search, and finally the master stroke. It synthesizes all of that separate information into one single, beautiful itinerary. It's a perfect dance of planning and action.
And, for those of you who like to peek under the hood, it's fascinating that there isn't just one way to build these agents. A whole ecosystem of frameworks has popped up. You've got LangGraph, which basically thinks like a flowchart. You have CrewAI, which sets it up like a company with specialized agents reporting to a manager. And then there's AutoGen, which is more like a committee meeting where different expert agents debate the best way forward. Each one has its own philosophy on how to conduct this orchestra.
So, let's bring it all home. We've seen the tools, we've seen the plan. For the grand finale, let's go back to our blueprint and watch the entire symphony come together.
What looked like pure magic at the beginning is actually a beautiful symphony. The plan is the sheet music, that brilliant score laying out every single note. The tools are the instruments in the orchestra, each one ready to play its part. And the AI agent? It's the conductor, reading the music, cueing each instrument at the perfect moment, and weaving all those individual sounds together into a flawless masterpiece.
So we've seen the performance when everything goes perfectly. But what happens when a string snaps in the orchestra? When a tool fails, an API returns an error, or the plan itself just leads to a dead end? What happens when this perfect symphony falls apart?
That's our next story. Hari!